The first one in terms of SEO is to not get too bogged down with kind of data and worrying about algorithms, even though all this is very important, but just think like a human. And so think about the search terms that people might be putting into Google. So say, I mean, I mentioned earlier being a crime writer. So you might want to say that you write about crime in East Anglia, whereas if you say in your bio something like expect the unexpected, no one is searching for that phrase on Google. Whereas they will be searching for things to do with crime fiction. So think in a very kind of logical, human sort of way about how people would find you. And the second thing is to do with link building. How can you encourage quality sites to link to you? So say if you've written that post about Wagner and Frozen, that's the kind of thing might get picked up in the broadsheets because they want a more kind of fine art sort of angle on it, I suppose. Can you ask them to link to you as well? So if you get a link from, say, The Guardian, then that's going to bring you lots of traffic over time. And just sort of make that part of your policy almost, that you're always asking people for links. When people write reviews about you, can they put a link to your website at the end? And just make that a thing that you do as a natural habit. Because people can be too shy and retiring about these things, whereas you need to say, give me a link. If you want to review my book, then you need to link through to it as well, so people can find out more about me. So yeah, it's those two things really, thinking like a human and then encouraging links.
And Ashley, what are your thoughts on that one?
It's an absolutely massive subject and it's a very small question. So I think there's a few things that you need to perhaps have a look at. So where Sue was mentioning what people are searching for, if you're not quite sure what people are searching for, then use the tools at your disposal. Use something like Google Trends. Find out what people are searching for within a given subject. If you type in crime writing in East Anglia, for example, if you put that in Google Trends, not only will it tell you how many people are searching for it, it'll give you some other suggestions. So maybe there's more search volume around East Anglian crime novels or East Anglian crime novelists, something like that. And it's just going to give you a little bit more data informity that you're going to then be able to incorporate in your website. So within your titles, within your meta titles and things like that, you'll be able to incorporate these terms. It's, again, try and keep it natural, try to keep it organic, and don't try to play the system because Google will understand what you're doing and they'll penalize you for it. So it's just try to keep it on the straight and narrow, really. If you've got something like a WordPress blog and you're looking to optimize that a little bit further, there's millions of plugins out there, and the big one that I'd certainly recommend is Yoast. So they create an incredibly powerful SEO tool. So that will analyze your blog from an SEO perspective. Before you even publish it, you kind of know how it's going to perform. Is it long enough? Has it got enough keyword? Does it include your keyword, for example? So if your keywords are East Anglian crime novel, does it include that in the title? Does it include it within the content? Is it used too much? It'll even flash things like that up, and it'll just give you a good indication as to how that blog might perform if the site is optimized correctly.
I think as well, it's about paying attention to the finer details as well. So every time you add an image, make sure it's got a title and it's something that might be relevant to the keywords people are searching for. Every time you add a link, give that a title. Put your keywords in the headings and in the title of the blog. It's all those kind of little things that a lot of people overlook. Or say if you add images, make sure that the image isn't a massive file size, because when someone opens your site, perhaps on mobile, and if it takes more than 3 seconds to load up the site because the images are so big, then they'll click away. And that's the kind of Google tracks well, along with all these other thousands of little things that it's tracking. And websites that have got that low visibility, Google's going to score them less highly because they want to link people to sites that are good quality, easy to access, all that kind of thing. So, it's about paying attention to the finer points as well, and thinking about all the work that Google's doing behind the scenes to get people to your page.
Definitely, yeah.
It's definitely a sum of, I don't know, hundreds of parts to get yourself to the top of a search engine ranking, and it can take a long time, and it's not overnight. You can pay to put yourself there, but you can also spend an awful lot of money to get yourself there as well. So yeah, definitely pay attention to the smaller things that you can do, and over time you'll hopefully increase. We also have a an author hub guide here, which covers some very basic points.
Oh, this is
on improving
shameless.
your SEO. Yeah, sorry. Thank you. So there's a guide there which you can download from cambridge.org/authorhub, which gives you some basic stuff. But yeah, it is a massive subject, and there's a whole industry which hangs off the back of achieving #1 search engine ranking. So it's a big subject.
And Ashley, you were talking about Google search trends. I'm not entirely sure that some of our authors will have heard of that tool before. So is that free? How easy is it to use? And could you just explain a little bit more about how it works?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a free tool that Google actually provide. It helps you tailor your keywords with a bit of relevance and a bit more detail. So as I said, if you're looking for a particular term, it will come up. All you have to do is type it in like you would a search engine. It will then come up with how long would you like to spread this data over, so you can monitor it over, I don't know, over the course of 2 years, 3 years. You can monitor it over time, so you'll be able to see whether that, if it's coming into trend, for example. So if you're talking about something really prevalent at this point in time, is something like food waste. So if you look at Google Trends for food waste, you will see that the graph that they present is doing nothing but going upwards. So it's showing a steady demonstration going up north. So if you talk about something food waste related, for example, then you know that you're going to be capturing quite a lot of the audience because people are searching for it. If you start, I don't know, if you're talking about the FIFA World Cup 2010, it would have peaked in 2009, 2010, and it will be on a decrease ever since then. So if you start talking about a subject like that, then you know that you're not going to be talking to that many people. The search terms are going to be relatively stunted, and the volume around it is going to be relatively minimal. So if you're talking about football, then talk about future events, something that might be coming up. Or if you're talking about current news events, just think about what might happen as a result and what people might be searching for. It's all these little things, and it's to do with sort of the way in which people might word it when they're typing it in. And if, for example, you think that the best search term around your particular niche is East Anglian crime novelist, but people don't spell novelist correctly, then that's going to sort of find you out. So yeah, have a look at Google Trends, just give it a go. It's free to use, very simple to use, and has a whole host of data that you'll be able to harvest.
Brilliant, thank you. That's really helpful. I guess from our author's point of view, they could use it as a tool to kind of see what topics are trending. For example, if an author is publishing a title in astronomy, you can kind of find what topics in that field are trending and use it as a way of engaging readers online. So
absolutely,
that sounds like a very useful tool.